What up, guys? This is Tyler with Jabbas Dungeon Podcast. Not only is today Friday the 13th, one of my favorite days of the year, it's also the day I could do my action figure collection video that the guys have kind of pressured me into doing. I'm not used to filming solo, so this is a little weird, but we're going to go with it. So I'm going to run you through my Black Series collection, my Marvel Legends, and my Neca figures. Black Series obviously is my bread and butter, so I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time going through these, but let's go through it. So, like I said, my Black Series is pretty much what I collect the most of. All in these glass cabinets for the most part. I've got a couple figures on my desk, like the Gaming Greats Deluxe Cow, the holiday Christmas figures, but those aren't part of my main display. Those are more just like nice little figures to mess around with on my desk. Up top here, I'm going to build a Mos Eisley Cantina or Jabbas Dungeon diorama. I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna line up with the limited space I have, but I'm gonna go with it. But right now I've got Ronan and his droid. I love this set. I love the wired cape. I never thought we'd get something like this in the line. And I've got them on this little diorama piece that came with one of the sequel trilogy Luke deluxe packs. So moving down to this top row here, I've got kind of the prequel era. So starting off in the top in this side, it's just named characters, no clones. Starting with Knights of the Old Republic. So we've got Revan, Bastila, Malak, Malgus, Nihilus. Moving into the Acolyte, I'm not a fan of the show, not for most of the reasons that people on the internet claim. I just feel like the finale really fell through and did not answer or deliver anyhow that I wanted it to. That's my personal preference. But I do think the action figures from the show are really cool. So, obviously Soul, I like his character. His figure's awesome. Neca, I love having a Wookiee Jedi figure. I would pick him up regardless of how I felt about the show. May, as a figure, I love it. Super detailed, cloth, soft goods, multiple knives. She's super posable. Has the little face piece that you can take off and on her face. So as a figure, I love it, honestly. The whole line of figures, fantastic. Moving into the movies and TV shows now. I've got Jar Jar and Anakin, pit droids. Of course, those are from the Mandalorian droid pack, but pit droids are pit droids, so they're just sitting up here. I've got some Bulba, Padme, then the Duel of the Fates 3 pack. Obi-Wan looks like he's about to tip over, but I'm going to leave him for after this video before I even attempt to fix anything. Moving down next, I've got Clone Wars Mace, Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan. That is the Anakin with the live-action head sculpt for the Ahsoka show on the Target Clone Wars body. I just feel like having that face goes a lot better with Obi-Wan since they're both realistic interpretations. Moving into more some of the villain characters, I've got Hondo, Ventress, Cad Bane, Aurra Sing, she's tucked there in the back, Savage Press. Coming down to this line, we've got more so Revenge of the Sith era, so we've got Season 7 Maul and Ahsoka, Count Dooku, Aayla Secura, Bandai Grievous, Kit Fisto, Yoda, Plo Koon, Candy Mundi, Shakti, and Luminara. I love these figures. Absolutely love them. And sitting in the back here, we've got Figuarts Anakin re-release and Emperor Palpatine. Hopping over one shelf this way, we've got the clones and droids. I'm not going to go through these really individually, but I've kind of got it broken down by Geonosis / Gaming Greats. I'll consider it that. Clone Wars TV show, and then Revenge of the Sith time frame. The clones, I've thought about merging the two with having the clones with the representing Jedi and back and forth, but I kind of like having like an army section here and a bunch of lightsabers just next to each other. It looks awesome. Moving down to the next line, we've kind of got the Dark Times into original trilogy. So here, I've got the Bad Batch. That's the Imperial Crosshair with some custom elbow pads, and then my custom Imperial Commander Cody. Custom head sculpt for Cal by Fat Clone on Instagram. It's awesome. So yeah, then moving into the kind of Fallen Order Jedi Survivor time frame, we've got a bunch of Imperials, Inquisitors. I would pick up Bodhi if they make him for Survivor, but other than that, I think this era is getting a little bit too crammed, so I'd rather focus on getting more named characters. Then we move into the Kenobi show. It's one of those shows that I have more good feelings towards because of the time of my life when the show was coming out, and I'm a big Ewan McGregor fan. So, yeah, the show has a lot of faults, but it's also more Vader content, and I can't get mad at that. This Vader is a custom head sculpt. I forget the creator, but yeah, I bought that head and put it on a Vader figure, and it looks awesome. That was before the Duel's End set was released as a Target exclusive. Moving from there, we go into Rebels. Got the Rebels crew. I've thought about getting the Gaming Greats Maul. That kind of coincides with his Rebels look. I just feel like I need to make some more space in here for that. Hopping over to this section, continuing into an original trilogy. I've got Andor and Rogue One lining up these top two shelves. Man, I love the new Cassian figure with his look from the end of the show. Sorry, that was my cats trying to disturb me for like the third time since I've tried to record this, if you heard that in the background. Moving into the Shore Troopers. I love Shore Troopers. Also, don't get surprised if my cats get in the frame. I've tried to record this video multiple times now, and they just want to get in the video, I think. So if they come back, they'll get in the video. That moves down into A New Hope. I love these new updates like the Luke and Leia. Like the Luke head sculpt isn't amazing, but the figure itself is great. I'm really getting into having more background aliens, so obviously I love Greedo, Cantina Band, Ponda Baba, Momani Don. Continuing to move down, this is kind of my the rest of the original trilogy era. So, starting up here, we've got the comic book lines with Dr. Aphra, Scar Squad, Jackson, kind of like a publishing shelf, which moves into Empire Strikes Back. We've got the Mafex Boba Fett, which looks awesome. Articulation, I feel like, is about on par with the Black Series that we currently have, but at least visually, this one is so much better. I still need to get Forlom to go with the rest of the bounty hunters. Prince Caesar is awesome as a figure. Got the speeder bike. I was able to cop this for like $30, I think, locally at a toy store. Awesome find. Emperor on his throne. And over here. Oh, Boba Fett fell at some point. But anyway, this is what I've currently got for my Jabbas Palace display. If anything, it's just the figures all together and kind of like a mini diorama. But anyway, I love all of these so much, especially the Gam Guard and Jabba. It's just awesome to have those characters. Starting on this bottom shelf now is the Mandoverse up into sequel trilogy. So, mainly in here, I've got seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, plus Book of Boba Fett. I would say I've kind of soured on a lot of the Disney era shows for the most part, other than Andor. But I can't deny that it's awesome to actually have a whole fleshed out shelf devoted to one small piece of the franchise. I love Boba on his throne. I love the work I did to the Remnant Stormtrooper to make him look less like a toasted marshmallow and more like a weathered soldier. And then hopping over into this side, we've got Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Mando Season 3, some expanded universe figures in the sequel trilogy. I do like Ahsoka, especially the Night Troopers. I just love any kind of zombie-esque representation in the franchise. Baylan and Shin, I've not done the height changes with the thighs, but I feel like having them posed with her kind of like in an action stance hides the inaccuracy of their height. And then I love Brutus from Skeleton Crew. I'm not going to pick up any other figures from the show, but I do love just the Wolfman design. Then this is a custom Jason Solo that I made to go with Jaina. It's just using a Baylan body and a young Han Solo head. And then, of course, the sequel trilogy figures. I'm not a big sequel trilogy guy. As you can also tell, the only characters on my shelf are... They're just to have some type of portrayal of them on the shelf. But I would honestly pick up newly made figures, especially for like Finn, Poe, Rey, Kylo, and also the First Order Stormtroopers. If we got modern articulation on those, I would probably pick them up just to, you know, have better figures on the display for parts of the sequel trilogy that I do feel like deserve a spot on the shelf. But yeah. Lastly, I've got this bookshelf, and this contains every other line that I collect other than Lego, which I don't really collect Lego, but I have an older collection of them. But anyway, up here on the top, I've got the Hush Mafex Batman figure. This is the only Batman you'll ever need. I'm not a fan of the McFarlane figures because I feel like their scale, being 7 inches, their proportions look janky. They don't scale with other comic book lines. So, yeah, any kind of comic book character I purchase, I want to be in 6-inch form. And this Hush Batman fits almost perfectly into a Marvel Legends display. So then moving down, we've got the X-Men collection here. The lighting is not the best in the back. I apologize for that. I need to get some lights. So I'll just kind of pan through. You can probably see certain figures popping out at you, but yeah. I try to stick with characters that were in the animated series or any that I've actually read. Coming down, it's the Spider-Man, Avengers, and Daredevil section of the display, plus Deadpool and Agent Bob, just because, why not? And throw them anywhere. But yeah, Spider-Man I try to focus more on also the 90s animated version, but you know, any kind of representation of major Spider-Man characters I'm fine with. I love how I have Black Suit Spidey just chilling right there. Then I'm not a huge fan of the Maximum Hulk, but I'm happy to have a Hulk on the shelf. But I absolutely love having Maximum Spidey on his shoulders. And yeah, then we move into more of the Daredevil characters. So we got Kingpin, you know, Daredevil, and Punisher. Coming down to these last 2 rows of figures are going to be NECA. So this row I have my Alien and Predator franchise. I do have the Feral Predator in the blood-soaked version up on my wall, still on box. I just don't have room to put him with the rest of these. but I'm perfectly happy with how many I have currently. And then this bottom row is my Neca horror figures. I've got like Ash, McCready, Freddy, Jason's, Michael, John Carver. I think the last one I'm going to add in here is Leatherface, and I have these arranged in chronological release order, so Leatherface would go at the very beginning, but I think I might rearrange if I get Leatherface so I can have him more in line with the Freddy, Michael, and Jason that I have. But yeah, that's the end of my collection, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see more, if you want me to start doing unboxings and reviews, I'm more than happy to do that. Also, if you want to pressure the other members of the podcast to post their collections, have at it in the comment section. Anyway, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.